Hey guys, how we doing out there? It's Labor Day weekend, and I thought I'd do a video from the backyard. Um, it's a beautiful day. It's getting a little warm again, so I'm not gonna be out too long except to cook later on. Today's video is gonna be a little bit longer because I got a lot to cover because I have not done a couple of videos, and we got a lot of information coming up. So first of all, happy Labor Day. Time to remember that take a weekend off, and we all work hard, and that's not just people who get paid to work. That's the volunteers in the lodge too. So make sure we remember in our heads that we need to thank the officers. The officers and everybody need to thank the membership for all they do. So just take the next week or so to remember to thank everybody in the lodge just for coming in and buying a drink, coming in and washing dishes, mowing the yard, whatever somebody does around the lodge. So we appreciate having them. Just a quick reminder on that. So we finished August at just around down 300 members. Not terrible. That time of year that normally happens a little bit. What I am concerned about is that the retention rate was still in the low 70s. So we need to make sure we're working retention. We got a lot of lodges that just aren't, and I know those will affect our numbers. I do a monthly retention list myself. I put those out, and I know that when I talk to quite a few people, when I get back answers, I get, oh, thank you very much for reminding me, or I never got my renewal notice. That may have been because they moved and they need to update their address in the lodge. So it's things like that. I would say 80% of my phone calls or contact getting back with somebody, it's that type of information. Yes, there are going to be people that will complain for whatever reason. They're upset with the lodge or the organization as a whole, or George, who they sat next to at the social course, are not coming back in. Listen to those complaints. Some of them are valid, some are silly complaints, but we need to listen to them and at least hear them out on those situations. The summer's coming to an end. That's what Labor Day kind of is a signal for. So people are getting back into their regular routine. So the lodges are getting busier. Hopefully we're reminding them at that point to renew their dues. Lots of lodges went out and got the new key card reader or updated their system. That's a great way to catch expired members. Even if we have that system though in place, we need to remind our bartenders and our officers on a semi-regular basis. We need to be carding members, making it a campaign, because you will catch people that a spouse who was a member, or at one point they were expired, they need to renew their dues, they come in with their spouse and and forget that they've expired, and you'll catch other members coming in that way. So it's always a good time to do that. Also remind your bartenders, if they don't know somebody's face, just because they got in, however they got in using a card system or walked in with somebody or who knows how, they should always card that person to see if they're a member, especially if they don't know their face. That's part of their job. I don't care if members get upset sometimes. They're supposed to have their card on, and they're supposed to be able to prove that they're a member of that lodge when they walk in. Excuse me. Also on retention, higher degree and district presidents, the districts have been doing a little bit of effort. So let's not let them do all the work. Let's help them out and do the work in the lodges ourselves. Taking smaller chunks is a whole lot easier than taking big bites. Some other things I'm going to talk about in this video, so if you want to stick around to listen to the end, we're going to talk about Indiana Day at the baseball game in South Bend with the Indiana House Girls. We're going to talk about Indiana Day itself and Moose Heart, which is coming up. We're going to be talking about 990's and some very important information on that. The Indiana Moose Association convention coming up in October. So stick around to the end to hear some of that stuff. Excuse me. So really quickly, the Goshen Lodge has put together a Moose Day at the South Bend Cubs game now I'm forgetting the date, whether it's Saturday or Sunday now. But this coming weekend, the information has been put out there already. But the Goshen Lodge does need the information turned in. If you got a sheet for sign-ups, turned in by tomorrow, Tuesday. Technically, if you can get it in today, that'd be great. Most people probably aren't watching the video since it's Labor Day. They're probably seeing this tomorrow. But she needs to put the names in up there, so you'll be on a will call list when you go in. So again, if you are a lodge or a member out there that was planning on going, and I know this is probably mostly the northern lodges, you need to make sure that you turn that sign up sheet in by Tuesday the 5th, just to make sure you'll be on the will call list when you arrive at the game this weekend. Your ticket will be at will call. Also, Indiana Day is coming up, and we know lots of people are coming up in vans and buses for that Sunday. Some lodges are doing events. They're coming up the night before on Saturday. That's fantastic. That's the week after. Um, there will be a little agenda coming out that will be emailed to lodges and probably put on Facebook. But the concept never really changes. It basically runs from 9 to 4 in the afternoon. People come up, take tours before lunch. There's a gathering at the Indiana House for gifts for the Indiana House specifically. That's where lodges and individuals donating to the Indiana House, the girls at the Indiana House, need to show up there to give those items to the Indiana House. Then we're all collecting the washcloths and towels. That's for all the houses, not just the Indiana girls. That can be dropped off at the gymnasium during the Indiana Day presentation. So there's that presentation where we drop off the Indiana House. Then there's lunch. Lunch goes from, I believe, 11 or 11:30 till about 1 or so. So there's plenty of time to get there for lunch. There's a presentation, the Indiana Day presentation, in the gymnasium after lunch. Then there'll be more tours. You can stop by, get tours of all kinds of things. You can go to the gift store, House of God. I think they're having the petting zoo open, POJ, some of the museum, those buildings are all kind of open to be viewed while we're there. But again, the agenda will come out, and most likely Jeff Hammond, the Indiana Day chairman, will be contacting you guys on that one. I'm trying to get through everything. Let's get a little tongue-tied today. Okay, 990's. September 15th is the deadline, and we have lots of lodges that have not turned in their notification to Sharon Short, the 990 chairperson, that they have filed their 990. This goes for lodges, chapters, and Moose Legions. They all have to do 990s. Most chapters and legions fall under the postcard, which is the simplest form. Lodges that have to file the long form or the easy form. Now, the easy form is the one thing you have to remember. You have to have either $200,000 in gross assets, or gross receipts in 1 year, up to that. So under 200,000. And the second one, which bites a lot of lodges, they don't realize that they're not paying attention to, and they get in trouble, and they fill the 990 easy out, and they shouldn't, is if they have $500,000 in total assets. Total assets. So that means your cash assets, both in your gaming, your general accounts, your saving accounts if you have any, and your building and property. If all of that together is more than $500,000, you have to do a long form. Now, we've said for the last several years, we encourage lodges getting a CPA for that. You can go online and do it yourself. The lodge can do that. There is a link on the website for Moose International how to do a 990. It's actually not complicated, especially if you're doing the easy form. In this video, I will attach that link for that. We have had a few people call and complain, saying it doesn't work right. It does. Again, we've sent out multiple communications that lodges should be using Google Chrome when searching items for Moose International, because everything works with Google Chrome. Sometimes with Edge or Firefox or something else, it doesn't necessarily work right. So again, you should be using Google Chrome. When you go to that link, and it goes step by step how to do that 990, when you scroll down, if you don't have your computer's screen settings correctly on there, when you scroll down, you don't see the next button. It's in the lower right hand corner. You have to scroll down and go over to see it, or adjust your screen settings so you see the entire page. So that seems to be a very common problem happening as well. On there, there's also a link for the 990 Form 990 online. I've used it a few times with other lodges, helping them out. I like the program. It gets easier once you've done it 1 year and have the right numbers in. The next year numbers are much easier to put in. That form, the video on the form there from the website tells you exactly what you have to have, your profit and loss detailed, the balance sheet from your QuickBooks all online. That's all available to get done for you. Um, if you Google search Form 990 online, that website's going to come up. Its web address is a little funky though. It's like efile.990.org or something like that. If you need help, contact me. But again, that link is also on the Moose International website. When you go down to training and go down to demos and tools, that information is on there. We do not want to be waiting till September 15th to get this stuff done, because quite often we forget some kind of information or we're missing something and it takes longer. We've had since May 1st to get these 990s completed. We need to be on it. There is no reason to be filing an extension. If you are filing an extension, your territory manager needs to know about it, and they need the reasoning why. And even then, you still need to contact and send an email to Sharon Short, the 990 chairperson, and show them that you've actually filed for the extension. Again, we've had lodges say, well, they're going to put it off, and then they don't file that extension. We cannot do that. The 990 is the most important form that we fill out as an organization and as a lodge. Excuse me. So again, if you have any questions about 990s, contact your territory manager. We'll be more than glad to help you out. Indiana Moose Association Convention coming up in October. The registration form is out. I believe it's already been sent to lodges. I'm going to make sure it gets sent out again to all units, lodges, chapters, and Moose Legions. We will make sure it gets put on Facebook as well. Also, the link to the Wyndham to get the moose rate will be sent out in one of those communications, and it'll probably be put on Facebook. I'll probably send it to lodges and chapters and Moose Legions first, so that officers have the first chance to get that best rate to make sure we don't fill up. We should not run out of reservations this year. We did figure out what the problem was last year and why we filled up so quickly. Also, you can call the Wyndham Hotel and book that rate, but you want to tell them you have the Indiana Moose Association rate. And when you contact them, you want to call the hotel, the Wyndham West Airport in Indianapolis. You do not want to call the 800 number by Wyndham. They won't know what you're talking about. They won't necessarily be able to give you that rate. More information coming out about convention, but I just wanted to let you guys know that that'll be coming out really soon. The abbreviated agenda, the agenda itself has already been approved by Moose International. The abbreviated agenda will come out. I have lots of officers always ask, what do I need to go to? The convention is always business oriented. The mid-year and the spring is always more workshops and just communication. Again, lodges have to have representation. They have to show up at one of the actual sessions, one of the general sessions. You have to be there for roll call to get accounted for. Administrators and presidents, we obviously really encourage you to be there to bring that information back to your lodges. If you're looking for personal awards, you have to be there. You cannot send somebody else in your place for that award. If, for whatever reason, the president and administrator are the only ones that normally would go and they can't go, and the lodge needs to send somebody else as a representative of the lodge, that's fine. They can go, but they will not be there as attendants for the administrator or president. So while I have the sign behind me here, it keeps blowing back and forth as I'm outside. I've been traveling around with this sign a lot. Sign's doing great. People love it when they see it. We have that marketing grant that is available out there, and very few lodges in Indiana have taken advantage of this grant. Again, there were lots of details. I won't go into what's all required. You have to have gone to the Reno convention, had somebody there represented to be available for that, to be able to get that grant. But it's free money, and it's there until it runs out. So we ought to be doing something. If the lodge isn't going to do anything, I suggest getting one of these type of banners, and then, getting a tent. We've seen lodges getting tents with their name on it. That's good if you're doing an event out in the parking lot, like a car show or whatever, or you're going to do an information booth at some festival. It's nice to see that it has the lodge name on it and the moose on it. So why not go ahead and get that stuff? All you have to do, if you've had a representative convention in Reno, is get a cost analysis of what's going to take to get one of these, what kind of tent you want. Again, I think the minimum is $300 that they will give a grant for. The maximum is $3,000. Again, there's a plethora of things you can do. There were workshops on this of what you can do for marketing. But if you're not going to do anything, the minimum we should be doing this type of stuff. I've seen a few lodges get these locally. We want you to get them locally if they can. I've seen them as high as $500 though, and that's just outrageous. This one here, which is like, it's over 6 foot tall, cost like $175 from Vistaprint, and that was being done and shipping and everything. If it's a little bit more to get it locally, we want you to do that. But if it's going to be $500 and it's like, almost quadruple the price or triple the price, there's no sense in getting it that way. But this type of sign, again, if you're having an event to the public, you're having a car show, or if you have a bingo, there's no reason why this can't be up there so people see, oh, when I come and I donate to the Moose, these are all the things that that the lodge donates to. Of course, we want Moose Charities on there. I got Moose Charities here, and then I got Moose Heart, Moose Haven on the bottom. But then in the middle is all the things the association has donated to in the last handful of years, and that's what you should be doing too, especially if there's somebody local on there, youth sports of some type, or the high school, or the local pep, or whatever you might be having those on there. That way people realize the lodge gives locally, not just to Moose International. And even if you're not using this, if you don't have a bingo or lots of events where you're out in the public, this can be up in your social quarters, and your members can remember that, oh, when I come and I play tips and I lose, or, I come in and have that drink and a meal, my money is helping support these projects here. It's whatever we can do, and it's a passive way to remind our members that we're not just a bar. So go out there. If you guys went to convention, go out there and apply for that grant and do something with that grant. Again, the money's going to be there until it's gone. Last year, that $1 million lasted almost the entire year. I think it ran out like in March of this past year, and the year was up in April. I think it will go faster this year. I've seen where more people are applying across the country, so let's not be left out of that. Go out and apply for that grant. I'm at 18 minutes and I went very long. I only have one thing left to remind everybody, is I will be at Indiana Day at Moose Heart, but this coming weekend I will be gone, and I will email all the lodges. I'll make sure everybody has Jesse Germany's phone number. If you need to contact him, if there's an emergency, you can get hold of the state officer as well. I will be out of the country, so I will not be able to be contacted. You can email me. I will have Wi-Fi. I will check it on a once daily basis, but you will not be able to call or text me as far as I know. But I will see everybody on Indiana Day. You will get weekly stats next week. There probably will be no weekly update video or anything. You guys have a great Labor Day. Sorry that it took me 18 minutes talking. Take care, guys.